Hey everybody, good afternoon. It is Talk to Me Tuesday, so I am back for, a second session today. So while I'm waiting for my chat to pop up, let me just remind you that my name is Angie Atkinson, and on this channel, I offer free daily video coaching to help you discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse and toxic relationships. I like to call it toxic relationship rehab. So if that sounds good to you, hit that subscribe button and we'll just get going. All right. Okay. So while you guys are getting in here, let me ask you a quick question. And I think this is a legit question. So, first of all, hey, Literal Best, thank you so much. And hey, Malta. First of all, somebody commented on one of my regular videos that they did not. I got the impression they didn't really feel very good about these sessions. And anyway, they suggested, what if I just went live once a week? And I kind of felt like a lot of you guys prefer the 5 day a week thing. But tell me, would you prefer that I just went live once a week? Because I'm sure I could work that out. Let me know what your feelings are about all that. All right, so let me say hello to everybody while I'm waiting for you guys to tell me, how would you feel about me going live just once a week or twice a week instead of 5 times or 7 times? Good morning, or good afternoon, Malta. Thank you, Literal Best. She says you look great, Angie. Thank you, and it's good to see you again, my friend. Dr. Mott is here. Hello, hello. Nicole Blotnicki in the house. Hello, Nicole. Ashley Thrasher says howdy. Hey, Ashley. And my 2 cents says the Narcs debit card came to the house in the mail yesterday to me. That's awesome. Erica Williams says hi there. Hey, Erica. Hey, Dima. Hey, Karen Johnston. Literal Best says hi, hi. Maura DeLuca says hi, everybody. Hey, Maura. Stacy, the sparkling star in the house, says hi, Angie. How are you feeling today? Hey, everyone. Hey, Stacy. I'm feeling all right. James LaCroix said, I hated the weekends with my narc. Yeah, James, that's the thing. The weekends with the narcissist. It's kind of a painful situation, actually. Rick Mash says, hi, Angie and everyone. Hey, Rick, how you doing? Dr. Mott says once a week is fine. My 2 cents says no, not once a week. Nicole loves the live videos every day. Jamie says that wasn't 5 minutes. What was 5 minutes? Did I miss something? Stacy, oh, sorry. Stacy, the sparkling star says, I love the videos, love the lives too. Thank you. Nicole says, not just once. Literal Best says, I love seeing you as much as I can, and that person sounds a little bitter. I kind of wondered about that too. I was kind of surprised because I intentionally unlist these after we do these sessions. I make them unlisted because that way people don't have to see them in their feed all the time, But I guess this person felt the need to tell me that I was going live too often. But I know that at least like about 60 of you are with me every morning, sometimes more, sometimes a couple less, but I feel like that's enough people to do it for. And it's not like I necessarily feel like I want to. I mean, sometimes I don't feel like doing it, but I still do. It's good for me and it's good for you guys. You know what I mean? But if you guys feel overwhelmed by it or you're not interested in it, let me know. I felt like it was important to support you as much as I could, and that was a little thing I could do to do that. And I don't want to annoy people. You know what I mean? So, hey, Tamara, how you doing? Bonnie says, Andrea Christensen says, hello. He walked into my house on Thanksgiving. Oh my gosh. She said, I saw him knocking on my door and didn't answer. He just walked right in. Acted like everything was normal, gave me money and tried to hug me. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry. How did that work out? Did you have him removed or did he finally leave? What happened? Dr. Mott says, as much as you can do. Ina Long says, need you as much as possible. Erica Williams says, on bad days, I love getting the notifications. Okay, very good. Literal Best, my 2 cents, Stacy the Sparking Star, Rick Mash, myself, and Tamara Lynn, and Bonnie, and all. Malta says hello. Hello, Malta. How are you, my friend? Thank you so much for coming in today. Twice. I really appreciate you. VG is here. Hey, VG. She says hello, sweet Angie. Hello, sweet VG. How you doing? Oops. Doreen B is in the house. She says, hey, Angie and Tribe. Where did I see her? She says, I missed y'all. We missed you too, girl. She said, I missed y'all this morning. Please go live daily. You're my connection with this reality, and daily chat is great. Okay. James LaCroix says, hi, Angie. Jamie Lynn says, I like the live weekday streams. You didn't have it twice last week and I fell off the bandwagon and texted my ex-boyfriend for drinks. Thank goodness he didn't respond. Right. I I feel like it's important to a lot of people, so I'm glad to see that you guys are on the same page. I guess I would tell this person that they should just not watch these if they don't enjoy them, and that's okay. Bonnie says, "Hey Malta." Literal Beth says, "We would miss you too much if you only went live once a week." Thank you. Valerie says, "No, every day is fine. Even if I can't watch live one day, at least I know you'll be on the next day." Yeah. Okay, good. And Morris says, question, how do you feel about it when someone tries to suppress your anger? Like if you have a stream of bad luck and they keep saying it can always be worse. You know what I think? I think narcissists do that to us in order to minimize our feelings. And I used to get very upset about it. But now I just, if someone doesn't hear me, if someone can't feel me, I just don't give them any of my energy at all. And I just, just like this person today who suggested that I don't go live as often, um, which is totally fine. I mean, if that's what you guys want, that's what I would do. But instead of feeling upset about it, I just thought I'd ask. So there's no drama, no trouble. I think it's very invalidating when someone doesn't recognize your feelings as real and legitimate. I know that growing up and even in my previous relationship, my feelings were often minimized and I felt offended by that and I felt hurt by it. And it also made me doubt myself and whether my feelings were legit at all. So I feel very frustrated when I hear about that. Yeah, sure, it can always be worse. So just like, look, when I left my ex-husband and I was a single mom and I was scared to death, and a family member, narcissist of mine, came to me and said, as I was crying my eyes out, desperately, searching for some kind of comfort, this person came to me and told me, these are the choices you have made. These are the choices you have made. Get over it. You did this to yourself. Of course I did it to myself, but in those moments that was not helpful to me and it didn't make me feel any better. All it did was teach me to start shoving my feelings down even further. And that's not healthy. we have to allow ourselves to feel things. So am I on the wrong track for you, Maura? Let me know. Rick Mash says, yeah, the once a week just isn't going to work, Angie. I look forward to this every day. Thank you, Rick. Ellen Dilly in the house. Hey, girl, hey. She says, what up, Angie? What's up, Angie? Been a while. Glad I caught this video. My 4-day weekend with my narc was not bad because I just focused on me. That is beautiful. And I think we should all take a little clue from that one, huh? I think it's a good idea. I like that, Ellen. Thank you. Eddie Knows says, squad. Maura says, I love these sessions. Thank you. Mr. Wanna Lancet says, every day, please. You got it. Literal Beth says, hey, Malta, thanks for always making us feel welcomed. Maura DeLuca says, thank you so much for your time. It's my pleasure. And thank you for yours, Maura. Ina Long says, no, every day. Okay, thank you, Ina. Tamara Lynn says, I'm freaking out right now. Narc husband just texted me and said he's taking me off his insurance. I go to a lot of doctors. I think his flying monkey coworker might have sent the text. Can he? Okay, first of all, I guess in many companies right now, you're going to be seeing open enrollment periods, but I think you can compel him to keep you on his insurance if you're still legally married. And even if you're not, sometimes they can be required to keep you on their insurance for a certain number of years after you divorce, depending on the state and what the judge decides. So I think for your purposes, Tamara, one of the best things you can do is talk to an attorney. I don't think Jillian's in our chat today, but if anyone has any information about this for Tamara, let us know. Try not to freak out, Tamara. We can figure, there are things we can do. There are things we can figure out if that does happen, but I'm pretty sure that he would be legally required to insure you by a judge if you needed him to be. I think we're required to have insurance. He would be, if he's the only breadwinner in the house, they will take some of his tax money or penalize him with taxes. So he would get additional taxes to pay if he doesn't pay for your health insurance through his company. So keep that in mind and maybe let him know that. Dr. Ma says, just went no contact with my narc mom a few weeks ago. Okay, well, how are you feeling about that? Andrea Christensen says, I think the 2 times a week thing would be great. This is hard to keep up with, has to be draining on you. Sure. Bonnie says, Angie, what to do when narc husband uses grown kids for supply when you as the spouse are trying to gray rock the narc? Oh, good question. I would enlighten the children as much as you feel comfortable doing so. They're adults, they can understand. Explain gray rock to them, teach them how to use it. Is he using them for supply, as in to make them, is he like turning them against you somehow, or what's happening exactly? Stop the Chaos says, well, another Hoover cycle comes to an end. Such a distinct devalue and blow up last night. Stand by for scheduled discard. Same old, but I knew it was coming. Oh, I'm so sorry. What happened? It's because I know you guys made it through the holidays, I thought, doing pretty well, and then this all came up, huh? What happened exactly? Eden Denise says, hello, everybody. Valerie says, hey, Eden, by the way. Valerie says, Andrea, don't you hate how they act like nothing is wrong? Been there. Good afternoon, Maura. Eddie and Tamara, Malta says. Stacy the Sparkling Star says, don't listen to that person, Angie, bad vibes. I know, right? Eddie Knows says, hey, Malta. Maura says, they're a hater. Yep, maybe so. Ellen Dilly says, I appreciate your live feeds. I love how you do them often. Thank you, Ellen. I appreciate that. Maura DeLuca says, hi, Malta. James LaCroix says, I got another letter from my narc yesterday. I didn't open it, just threw it away. Well, that's probably a good thing. And that's a big step toward your, taking back your life and your freedom. James, I'm really proud of you for that. Good job. Jamie Lynn says, if you're annoying anyone, for starters, that's ridiculous. They can unfollow you and not participate. We love this. Thank you, Jamie. Literal Best says, but it's not like you're spamming people with your good guidance. Some people just can't see people doing well, and I hope that doesn't discourage you. We love you. Thank you. Is not overwhelmed. Can't that person change their notifications if they don't want to watch every day? Maybe that's what I thought. Sunday Wolf says, that person is very negative and probably jealous, and that might be the truth. Sunday Wolf, you might be absolutely right. Let me see. I just lost my place. There I go. Okay. Stop the Chaos says, Angie, why does it never feel like I'm on the same page with him? He feels the same, but I don't get it. I know I speak English. Oh my gosh. I absolutely relate to that. I have been in a situation just like that where I'm like, I literally communicate for a living, you guys. And yet there are some narcissists in my life, current and past, who were unable to understand me. And I would tell them, one in particular, I would say, listen, I communicate for a living. I know how to communicate. I'm very good at communication. I'm telling you in very simple terms what I need from you or what I want from you or what you want to know from me. And yet you sit over there and you pretend you don't understand. I think you're a reasonably intelligent person, and yet you don't understand me. How is this possible? Am I not speaking the language I think I'm speaking? Have I had a stroke and I'm just confused? What's going on? And it's exhausting. It's exhausting. It feels that way because he is, I like to liken it to like they're like little porcupines with poison needles, and yet they want to be loved. So they want you to be super close to them, but in order to do that, you need to be willing to be, run through with the giant sharp needles that are, all of the issues that come with a narcissist. It's horrible. I wish I could. Again, the best thing you can do, and this is something that I've gotten maybe too good at, and that is that if someone, if it's clear to me that someone is not hearing my message, I just don't continue to try to give it to them. That's it. And so, you will see, if you knew me in real life, you would know that literally I will listen to anybody. I will try to be friends with anybody. I don't care what you look like. I don't care where you come from. I don't care who you are. But if you are rude or disrespectful to me, and it's obvious to me that you're doing it on purpose, or it's obvious to me that you're not even attempting to understand where I'm coming from, I stop. For example, I was talking to a friend of my husband's a while back, and he was telling me some point. I don't even know the point. He disagreed with me on a point. And so it was a religious point. And so I tried to explain my side of things and why I believed what I believed. And instead of actually listening to me, he goes, why are you trying to convince me? I said, I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I thought this was a friendly debate. And he was like, oh, And then I stopped because the energy that he gave to me made it clear, because he literally interrupted me mid-sentence and kept, the energy that he showed me was that he didn't want a discussion. And so I didn't give it to him, because why waste my energy and my breath on someone who isn't interested? That's kind of the way I see it. Let me know what you think about that. All right. Stacy the Sparkling Star says, Malta, hey. Nina Taylor is here. Hey, Nina, how you doing? Stop the Chaos says, good God, please keep the daily chats. All right, I will. Tamara Lynn says, hi, Malta. Bonnie says, I confronted the narc with his shenanigans. I stayed calm and I spoke my piece. He shrugged it off and went to his room. I still feel better for saying what was on my mind. Well, that's great. If you know what, sometimes it does feel good just to say it out loud, even if they don't fully listen, as long as you're okay with that. You know what I'm saying? But if it bothers you when you speak to him and he shrugs it off and goes in his room, then don't bother. Then speak to your, write it in your journal, or speak to a friend, or get a coach, or whatever. Tell us here. But sometimes you do, just like Bonnie said, sometimes you just need to say it out loud. And if they accept it and they work with it, then great. And if they don't, great. For my little lisp I have going on today, I've got a little tongue issue. I bit my tongue earlier and it's not quite healed yet. Anyway, Stacy the Sparkling Star says, I agree, Jamie. Arlene Robertson in the house. She says, hey, hey, hey. Hey, Arlene, how you doing? Muffy is here. Hey, Muffy, how you doing? She says, good afternoon, guys. Kirsten Mills in the house. Malta says, always a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much, my friend. I really appreciate you. Arlene says, hey, Malta. Bonnie says, daily chat and 2 for Tuesdays are great. You got it, girl. Malta says, hey, Muffy, Kirsten, Arlene. Good afternoon. Angie, see, I don't think that lady must come into our daily chats very often, because I know you guys and I know your stories, most of you that come here regularly. And I don't know how I do, but I do. and I feel like this is not something that you can get if you show up once a week. I'm just saying. Okay, moving right along. Andrea says, he walked in all the way in, so his son saw him. I just kept telling him to leave and that we were leaving soon. I told him to give me a schedule. I'm trying to see the rest of hers. Where is it? Oh, I'll come to it. Okay. Well, I'll get to the rest of that and then I'll answer that question better. Or the rest, I'll respond appropriately. I can't respond because I feel like I'm waiting for the rest of the. Okay. Tamara Lynn says, good for you, Bonnie. Dr. Mott says, my narc mom threatened not to come for Thanksgiving if I had friends over to my house, so I went no contact. Well, you know what? That's good, because what she was doing was saying me or them. And what you did was you said, family isn't always blood, is it? Sometimes family is the people who love you and support you. And obviously, if your friends love and support you, you made the right choice, especially if your mother is narcissistic and is torturing you while your friends are the only people supporting you. So I'm glad that you have friends over. I'm glad that you had the strength within yourself to go no contact. I know how hard it is. I do, especially in that particular case with the mom situation. But I bet you, if it hasn't already happened, it will happen. You will feel a lightness come around you that you have probably never felt before. And that's an amazing feeling. And once you start to feel that and things start to move in the right direction, it will just get better and better and better. It will. All right. Maura DeLuca says, my kid's dad sent me and my parents each long apology text the night of Thanksgiving, but still no mention of what he's apologizing for. To me, it's meaningless if it's just a general thing. I agree. And I believe that was an attempt to hoover you back in, which is not surprising given that it was Thanksgiving. Makes people think, How do you feel about it? Eddie Knows says, my boss loves me so much. My boss loves me so I can watch your live show whenever I want. I've had 8 narcs in my life. Oh, I've had enough narcs in my life. Thank God my boss isn't one. That is a very good thing, my friend, and I'm so glad to hear that, Eddie. Kirsten Mills says, my husband is feeling obligated to send his mom a Christmas card. I told him I cannot advise, but I could relay your thoughts. We've been no contact 1 month. I don't think you should do that. I think that's going to open up the gates for more contact. If you do it, I would just send her a generic one like you send everybody else in your list. I wouldn't buy a mom card. I would be like, Merry Christmas from the Mills family, or whatever y'all, put on your card, and that's it. Nothing special, nothing extra. if you're going to do it. Like treat her like a stranger or an acquaintance if you must. But any kind of contact is going to incite her to think that she can continue to contact you. So keep that in mind as you go forward. And I know you already know, but just something to think about. Ashley Thrasher says, you've provided so much support and clarity for myself, and I'm sure everyone else here. You are appreciated. Thank you. Been a bit of sanity through this process. Thank you, Angie and team. It is my pleasure. I know Malza is a big part of this for us all as well, and I really appreciate him and all of you. So thank you. Um, Andrea says she said you were leaving and he just laughed at you and said you had control issues. Oh my God. Did he finally leave, Andrea? I'm so sorry that happened to you. Michaela says, I love your live videos. Thank you so much, Michaela. Maura DeLuca says, exactly. They don't have to watch. Right. Stop the Chaos says, this is new. He makes comments about new friends I've made, calling them only distractions. Never had this before. Is it because I'm getting stronger? I say yes. He's looking for ways to, knock you back down or whatever in order to keep you. If you become too confident, then he knows for sure you're gone. And I'm guessing that he's in that place right now where he kind of gets that you're gone, but he's not ready to fully let go yet. He's in the denial phase. And so, he's probably still thinking he has the ability to manipulate you. And whether he's doing it consciously or not, he's clearly trying to take your self-confidence down to a level that he can control. And I think you are already beyond anything he can control, and he just has to learn that. And you just have to stay strong because, eventually when you don't break, he will have to give up. It might take him a while. You guys were together a long time, had a lot going on together. But because of the fact that he caused you the trouble that he did during your relationship, because of the fact that he kept trying to make you come back, all of these things, he's obviously not finished with you. I know you want to keep it friendly for the kids, but I think the best thing you can do is just go what I call low contact, where you're only speaking to him about the children and not about anything else. Does that make sense? I know you've already been kind of doing that, but just, don't have him over for holidays next time, like Christmas, tell him to do his own Christmas, for example. Talk to your family, say he's not allowed to come here for holidays. We're getting divorced, for God's sake. You know what I mean? Maybe that's something to think about. Michaela Hansen says, I've been talking to my ex-narc's ex, the one he was discarding when he met me. I feel better knowing it wasn't just me he treated so poorly. Is that weird? No. Is human. I think I told you guys before, I have spoken to two of my ex-husbands, now ex-wives, who were after me. And knowing that they went through essentially the exact same thing I went through was huge for me. It was a big, it was a godsend in a way. It really helped me kind of wrap my head around what happened to me during that relationship, and helped me. I mean, literally, I remember saying, oh my God, it wasn't me. It wasn't just me. It was huge. And I didn't meet either one of them until years later, so, but it was a big thing for me. It really did help me. And so I totally understand why you feel comforted by that. I do. Erica Williams is here and she says, I have a question. I watched your video on narcissists who ghost. Kind of confused on one thing. How does that relate to being stalked? Is that part of that or two different tactics? I would say that's two different tactics. Being stalked, obviously, I mean, if a narcissist ghosts you, they're not usually going to stalk you so much, but sometimes they might, just so they could try to keep tabs on you and keep control of you, until they're ready to come back around. But generally they aren't the same. The narcissist might ghost and stalk your Facebook profile to see how you're handling it, see if they can get any good supply out of the deal. But other than that, I don't see that being those things. Those are two separate tactics that would happen at two different times. Does that help at all? Usually, God knows with narcissists, but usually that's what I see. Buffy Levadusky says, hi there, our very own Malta. Hope your day is as awesome as you and Angie make ours. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. Charisma Jones says, the best way I can describe what I've been through was a wash cycle. I thought it was insane. I totally get that. I say all the time, it's a cycle, you know. I'm always doing this on the screen. It's a cycle because it is. It's, you know, you get into it and then you're lifted up, you're elevated, you're on this love bombing high, everything's amazing. You live on that pedestal, right? And then as soon as a narcissist recognizes you're human, or they get bored, or they get lonely or hungry or tired or whatever, they start to devalue you, and you get less and less important to them. And suddenly, before you know it, where you used to be like the best thing in the world, according to the narcissist, before you know it, you're down here in bottom of my shoeville, and I can't believe I'm wasting my energy and my time on you, from the narcissist. And then you're like, what the hell? You know, what just happened? Well, the devalue and the soon discard happened. And sometimes the discard means they break up with you. And sometimes it means they just make you feel like they're going to break up with you until they decide they're back to hoover you back in or suck you back in or whatever. Sometimes they do that in order to have the chance to go to a different, you know, person for a while, or they do that because they want to go out with their friends and they don't want you to complain about it or whatever. Sometimes they do it for no reason at all, just to be jerks. So, but it is a cycle. Absolutely, Charisma. It's a cycle. Jamie B is here. Hey, Jamie B. She says, love, light, and positive vibes to all my beautiful friends here. Back at you, honey. How you doing? What's going on? Talk to us. Eddie Knows says, hey, Jamie B. Bonnie says, thanks, Tamara. I actually feel better for confronting the bully narc. He won't tell me to go, you know what, myself. I told him, no way you ever gonna say that to me. I ain't having it. I love that, Bonnie. Go, girl. Stay strong. Malta says, good afternoon, Jamie B. And Literal Best says, do you have any book in particular you would recommend someone who keeps getting panic attacks? That's a good question. Let me think. I'll think about that and I'll get back to you. I'm kind of I'm not coming up with good titles at the moment, Literal Best, but I'll put something on Queen Being about that in the near future, okay? I'll make a list for you. Lauren G says, Angie, I love your streams. Wish you did more. Thank you so much, Lauren G. I appreciate you, my friend. And Dr. Mott says, I'm 42 years old with 3 children. How dare my mother threaten me about my house? Well, me too, girl. And yeah, you are an adult. She does not have the right. You're absolutely right. 100%. It's your house. She ain't paying your bills. You know, you don't owe her anything at this point. If she can't be respectful to you, then that's her choice, and you made yours, and I don't blame you one bit. I know it's hard, but it's worth it. And I like that you are feeling a little indignant about it right now, because sometimes we empaths need to feel a little bit indignant in order to keep going, you know, when we need to. So I'm glad to see that. Jamie says, hey there, how you doing, Mr. Malta? Valerie says, yeah, they minimize your feelings and their issues are more important. Yes, it is frustrating. Yes, it is true. And they do. They absolutely do. And you know, I was so sure that what I had to say was not worth anything, that for a long time I didn't say a whole lot of anything to anybody, because I thought the only value that I had was to lift other people up and to help other people you know, feel better about themselves. But I thought mostly the people in my own life, you know. It's hard to explain. I guess I always knew my purpose in some way, but I didn't understand that I had anything of value to say for a long time. Everything I would say would be discounted quickly. So, yeah. Eddie Knows says, I agree with Laura and Angie. Thank you. Erica Williams says, as he stalks the new supply, I often wonder if it's him, as I really think it is, or I could be wrong. Well, talk to me about that. What do you mean? Exactly. What about him? You mean, is he a narcissist, or is there something else going on? Let me know. Literal Best says, ew, they sound super unsupportive. Yeah. Charisma Jones says, I feel like I'm in deep recovery from my last narc relationship. I totally understand that feeling, and you are. Yeah, you know, it's a process. You can get through it, though, so stay with us and we'll help you. It is a process. It is painful, but it's worth it, because when you come out on the other side, you will be the strongest person you know in real life. And if you stay on track, you will develop this feeling of unconditional self-love. And unconditional self-acceptance. So being okay if you're not perfect and still loving yourself anyway, the same way you would love a child. If your child was not perfect, which I mean, if we're being honest, who's perfect, you would find yourself focusing on the things about your child that you do like and that you love about your child, and you would maybe ask them to do the same, right? Focus on the things they love about themselves. Well, you need to do that same thing for yourself. Even if you think there's nothing to love about you, I promise you, you're wrong. There's something. Everybody has something. And you can start just by being grateful for the fact that you're breathing and that you have another day to make a new choice every day when you wake up, and go from there. It's not so bad, I promise. Everybody here has some access to the internet and some device to watch it on, right? Or to connect with it. So right there, we all have something else to be grateful for, right? Everybody here, probably has a roof over their head and a pillow at night and a bed to sleep in of some sort, and food to eat. So there are a lot of things that we can be grateful for, even if we have to dig a little bit. And so when we focus on what we're grateful for, we bring more reasons to be grateful into our lives. We positively, change our vibration. And for us survivors, I always throw in there, think of 10 things you're grateful for every day and 3 things you love about yourself. And if you're having a particularly hard day, do that several times during the day. It's really the most important time to do it, but you should do it all the time so you can always stay in that positive, gratitude-based vibration where you're, bringing more reasons to be grateful into your life. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Malta says, I'm very well. Thank you. How are you, Jamie B? Rowena McD says, hi. Hey, Rowena. Welcome, welcome. And Stacy the Sparkling Star says, I love you, Angie. Thank you so much. Back at you, girl. James LaCroix says, well, my ex-narc ghosted, would text me not as often and would tell me she missed me, but not see for a week or 2 or 3, and all of a sudden tell me she missed me. Yeah, for sure. She was doing probably more than one thing, whether it was, she was cheating on you, or she was just self-focusing, or she was getting her supply elsewhere in some way during that time. That's what I would suggest is probably happening. How frustrating. I'm sorry. Marge DeLuca says exactly. Yeah. Andrea Christensen says, I love that you're here every day for all these people. A lot of people need this every day. I personally love it, but I understand you might need a break too. I don't right now need a break. I mean, that's why sometimes some days I'm here longer, some days I'm here shorter, but I try to come in when I say I'll be here every, Monday through Friday and twice on Tuesday, because I feel like you guys need me here. Am I wrong? And I think you're telling me that that's true. And so I don't want to leave you hanging. I feel like you guys are kind of like my little family and whatnot. Okay. Stop the Chaos says, I still can't control my energy. It blew out the top at an earth-shattering volume last night. I told him to leave, and today the adrenal fatigue is trying to take me down. I know better. Very good. Okay. So what happens, your energy, you'll learn to control it. You're getting there. You're getting there. Baby steps. You've made huge progress. Just don't beat yourself up about this. So it happened. Okay. It's just like if you're on a diet and you eat a cookie, you could be like, oh my God, I ate a cookie. I might as well just eat the whole bag. Or you could just go, dang, I ate a cookie. Well, I better get back on the track. Same deal. Get back on track. You're good. Honestly. I would just do your best to stay calm, give yourself some rest today, self-care, self-love. Try to find reasons to laugh today that will help with the adrenal fatigue. Focus on the gratitude, focus on the positive vibration. Love people like your children and your friends or whatever. Stay focused on what you want, not what you don't want, and actively try to enjoy yourself for the rest of the afternoon and evening. Really. I know it sounds silly, but like if you have a favorite movie that always makes you laugh, or there's some new movie you've been wanting to watch this, is hilarious, watch it. If if there's something that your kids do or that you do with your kids is fun, and, think of anything that you can to make yourself smile and laugh. That's important. It really does help with adrenal fatigue. I don't know why. Well, I do know why, and I would explain the science, but we don't have all day right now, but you can go watch the videos if you want. I've done videos on it. You guys know how much I love the science and the psychology and the physiology of it all. So you can see all that stuff on the channel. Anyway, very good though. I'm proud of you, Stop the Chaos, for not letting it stop you. Donna says, I agree with you and am so thankful for you doing what you do. Thank you so much. Charisma says, new subscriber. Well, welcome, Miss Charisma. Happy to see you and happy to have you here with us. And I know you're going through a hard time, and I'm glad that we can maybe help you through it. Rose Hargrove is here. Hello, beautiful. How are you? She says, hi, Angie. Hey, hey, hey. James LaCroix says, every day, please, your videos and live have helped me a lot. You've got it, James. Rowena says, my narc ex came in and out since February when he dumped me. He told me how he doesn't like my daughter. Why does this hurt so bad? Why can't I let him go? I'm making myself ill. All right. So here's the thing. If he doesn't now he doesn't like your daughter? If he doesn't like your daughter, Rowena, you probably can't be with him unless your daughter's an adult, in which case you have choices to make. But that's kind of a difficult spot. Obviously, if he's a narcissist, he's come out in and out since February when he dumped you. Now he doesn't like your daughter. It hurts because it's painful, because you probably have had your self-esteem beat down, because you probably, maybe also experiencing some adrenal fatigue after all of that. You have a physical addiction to him, if there, even if there wasn't sex, but if there was, even more so. And again, I've talked about that in previous videos. I think bottom line, Rowena, it hurts because you are sort of addicted to him. Yeah, you're making yourself ill. One of the things that has been very helpful for me with this whole no contact thing has been, your children are your children. Unless your daughter is, is not living in your home and is an adult, then, he's not right for you anyway. If she is an adult and not living at home, then you have to think about the fact that if you don't, want tension and stress at your family events, then maybe this isn't the right guy for you if you are close to your daughter. I don't know if I'm making any sense. And maybe I have a weird sense of that, different than other people, but I feel like if someone doesn't like my children, they can't be with me because, my God, we're a package deal, y'all. I don't know. Alicia says, Aisha, hello, Aisha, says, hi, the narc is back after being gone for 1 year. What do you think about spy recording device on the kids? Do you know a good lawyer that knows about narcissism that you can refer me to? Thanks. Okay, spy recording device on the kids. Are you saying the narcissist is spying on your children? How old are the children? There are legal concerns in some states with that. If you're talking about like a nanny cam, I don't see a big deal with it. But if it's like tell me what you're talking about. Do I know a good lawyer? I know a couple. I guess I need to know what state you're in, and I can try to help you, but I don't have a list of attorneys at this time. I only know a few that are familiar with it. I am working on a list. So if you guys know of attorneys who are familiar, please email me that information, angieatkinson@gmail.com. DT is here, says, I just found out about these daily live sessions. Very helpful. Thank you, DT. I appreciate you. Eddie Knows says, what's up, Charisma? Angie's channel is really helpful. You came to the right place. Thank you, Eddie. And Malta says, thank you, Muffy. And I'm pleased to report that I'm narc free and thoroughly enjoy my days and enjoy attending these sessions. Thank you, Malta. I appreciate you, my friend. I know I tell you that a lot, but I just don't want you to forget. I don't want to forget either. I never would. Stop the Chaos says, this discard is not affecting me at a heart level. I took your advice earlier this month and guarded my heart. And I was very cautious during the Hoover. I knew it would come. It did. So I move on. Very good. Very good. I'm proud of you for that. I know it's hard, but you know what? You are one step closer. You are. Every tiny baby step is one step closer to being, narc free, as they say, and to the toxic energy in your life any more than you must at this time. That's a very good thing. Eddie Knows says, DT, my sentiments exactly. Thank you, Eddie. Bonnie says, the therapist made me feel like crap. I had to stuff my feelings and more. She says, now I'm anti-therapist. I stay away for me now. Screen them thoroughly for being educated on narcissistic abuse. I agree with that. I've seen that a lot, unfortunately, because therapists aren't always educated about this stuff. And it's kind of shocking, but I guess because it's not really a huge part of the population that deals with it, supposedly. Although I got to be honest with you, I see it more and more now than ever. Jamie B says, staying clear of the negative and only letting myself be happy, Malta. Seems to be working today. Yee! Jamie B, that is a beautiful thing. I'm so happy to hear it, my friend. Faith C says, I love all the videos. Sometimes your videos remind you that I'm not the narc and I'm not crazy. Thank you. That is a beautiful thing, Faith. Thank you. I appreciate that. Jamie B says, hey, Eddie knows. Malta says, Angie, thank you for being here every day for all of us, including myself. I appreciate you very much. Thank you so much, Malta. I appreciate you too. I hope you know that. I know I just told you that like 6 times. Shh. I really do, though, honestly. Eddie Knows says, I second that, Malta. Totally, totally, totally. Thank you, Eddie. I appreciate you. Antoinette Scott says, Angie, my narc just was released from jail for aggravated stalking. He tried to hoover. We have a son, but I'm afraid to let him visit. How do I handle this? Is he legally allowed to visit? I would handle this by talking to someone who could be a court appointed um, supervisor of those visits. I would try to get supervised visits. If you have anything in writing about the visitation, let me know. I think having been in jail for aggravated stalking could be a good enough reason for you to get some sort of supervised court visits. And I think if you would refuse to let him see the child, he would have to go to court and have an attorney to force you to do so. At which time you could say, "Well, I'm scared of him. I'm afraid he's going to hurt my child. I would request court appointed attorney, court appointed supervision." Maybe think about. I don't know. What do you think about that? Um, Jenny Boo says, "My narc." Hey, Jenny Boo. My narc dumped me 2 weeks ago, and I've been searching a lot of information about narcissism. Sometimes I get confused if he is the narc or if it's me. I've seen that more times than I can count. I'll tell you one thing is that the fact that you're doubting yourself is normal. I can't obviously tell you for sure without knowing you, but I can tell you that usually narcissists aren't asking if they're narcissists, if that's of any comfort at all for you. And narcissists are very good at making us doubt ourselves. Um, I would ask you if you're aware that your narcissist has done any research about this issue. If they, I would, during a coaching session, I would ask you to tell me your whole story, and then I would probably tell you what I thought, whether or not I thought you were dealing with a narcissist based on what you told me, and again, without diagnosing the person, but with just, well, based on X, Y, Z, this person seems to meet the criteria or not. So, Adrian says, I love to be able to chat with you live on Tuesday twice and every day of the week. It helps me and gives me the support that I need. I appreciate you, Angie, and you have a wonder spirit. Thank you so much, Adrian. I appreciate you too. Thank you for being here and for supporting me. Let's see. Ina Long says, you helped our daughter to get out of her relationship with her narcissistic husband. Please know you're very important to us. Wow. That's amazing. Thank you so much, Ina. Thank you. You guys are going to make me cry. All right. All right. Sorry. Oh, Bonnie says, uses them as a surrogate wife in place of me. It's like emotional incest. Really creepy. You know what, Bonnie? I've actually seen that more often than I would care to admit. I've seen narcissists use their children in one of those roles. Whether it's just, the daughters come over and do the laundry, or the sons come over and do all the household chores, or whatever, they cook all the meals, or they even move in with them sometimes to take care of them. And not to say that that there's anything sexual that happens in most of those cases, but it's just, yeah, it's a certain type of emotional dependence that's not really healthy sometimes, for the daughters and the yeah, and sons. It is creepy. And I think the best thing you could do, Bonnie, is just explain as much as you think they can handle about the situation, and ask them not to enable him unless they understand what they're doing, I guess. You don't want to, they're adults. They have to know who he is and what he's all about. And if he's doing this in order to get, them to be against you because you're not doing what he wants, well, that's a problem. It's a problem. Let me know what you think about that. Valerie says, Andrea, I hear you about trying to make a schedule with them. It's as if they completely disregard schedules to see the kids. You would think they would understand that the routine is good for the kids, right? I know. Crazy. Rose Hargrove says, I had a difficult holiday with my son and his birthday yesterday. Now he needs money. School might be a problem. Hold up. Are you going to give him money and not go to school, Rose? Talk to me. What do you mean? I'm so sorry. Stacy the Sparkling Star says, Angie, do less live if it's too much for you. Oh yeah, I feel you, honey. And I get that. And sometimes, that's why I took time off at Thanksgiving and stuff, and I'll probably take a couple days at Christmas. But I don't want to make you guys feel alone. And I don't want to, I really believe that I'm helping people when I do this. And that's why it's so important to me. And it keeps me on track too. It really does. So I think it's good for all of us, honestly. Nancy Marin says, Angie, you and the Spanily rock. Thank you. I've lost my place here, so I'm trying to scroll back up. Oh, and I don't know where I was, but anyway, yeah, okay. Where was I? Okay, well, I'm just gonna see if I can find. Oh no, surrogate. Let me look up that word. Sometimes if I can. There we go. Okay, Bonnie, thank you. I had to find Bonnie worship. Okay. All right. I don't know if okay, I did this one. Andrea, I hear you, but okay. Jamie Lynn says, I find comfort in my decisions when I realize all of you are having such difficulty breaking your trauma bonds too. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Adrian says, I meant to say wonderful spirit, Angie. Thank you. That still makes sense. I was thinking Wonder Woman, whatever. No, I'm just kidding. That was what came into my mind, but I like that. Thank you. Um, Ashley Thrasher says, Narc called the other night and the next morning I broke and called back. She tried to lie and say she never called, eventually telling the truth. Can you talk about petty lying by them? Why do they do it? Well, they do it because they can, and because sometimes it's easier than admitting the truth. Um, it's ridiculous. I mean, especially when you have, this is 2017. We've all got a phone, and the phone tells us who calls us. Like, come on. Yeah, they do it because they can, and it's also a little bit of gaslighting. Well, I didn't call you. Well, I don't know what your phone's doing. I don't know why it says that. Maybe it was a glitch. It's because they're gaslighting, and plus they don't want to admit that they called you when you didn't answer. They want to be like, well, you called me. I didn't call you. It's gaslighting. It's manipulation. It's because they can. Yeah. Rose Hargrove says, I'm feeling worn. Oh, honey, I totally feel you. I do. I'm so sorry. Bonnie says, welcome, charisma. Tamara says, I can't deal with all this today. This is overwhelming. I'm so sorry, Tamara. I'm so sorry. Andrea Christensen says, I can't believe anyone complained that you were doing this every day. I was kind of surprised by that myself, actually. She said that we didn't really talk about anything in these groups anyway. And I thought, well, that's weird, but okay. Okay. Anyway, yeah, it was weird to me. Stacy says the person needs to stay in their box, if you know what I mean. Nice. Malta McMurtry says, yeah, the person might be a narcissist. You could be right. You could be right. Absolutely. Yeah. Charisma Jones says, finally a safe place. Jamie Lynn says, take a breath, Tamara. Yeah, breath. Take a moment for sure. Cosmic Mortality says, Angie, hey girl, I appreciate you and thank you so much. I have a weird thing that happened, I think, concerning my narcissist. He used to buy 1 month worth of prepaid card for my phone, but let me see if I can find the rest of that one. I'll have to come back to that one. That was Cosmic. Okay, I'll get to the rest of that one when there's a lot of comments between, so I'm going to read those and get down to yours. Okay. Michael Ali says, hi Angie, taking it slow, being attacked by flying monkeys, and the narc is attempting re-entry on the download through her monkeys. Oh geez, you got to stay strong, Michael. Don't let her back in. It's just going to hurt you. It's the same. They don't change. They don't change. It's a hoovering attempt. The holidays are here. She wants a nice Christmas present or something. Don't let it happen. Maybe her new supply, she's bored or she's lonely or whatever, but it will go right back to the same old. So be aware of that. Be careful with yourself. Bonnie says, narcs speak their own language from narco world. I know, right? Eddie No says, Michael, ignore the Hoover and don't let the vampire back in. Agreed. Stacy says, I was thinking that Malta as well might be an arc, thinking about the person who made the comment. Yeah. Adrian says, hi, Malta, Angie, and everyone. Hey, hey, hey. Stop the Chaos says, I can tell we are both disappointed it went this way, but the highs and lows are just not, the highs are just not worth the lows. Yeah, I totally feel you. And it's so hard because, I think, they are on a spectrum and sometimes we can see the beautiful side of them somehow, and then sometimes we can't. And, so it's difficult. Bonnie says to Charisma, yes, this is a wonderful tribe, a safe and blessed place. Welcome, welcome. Thank you, Bonnie. I appreciate that. It is such a good tribe, and you guys are such an amazing group. I'm really glad that you're all here, and I ain't gonna leave you. Don't worry. Eddie Knows says no contact, no contact, no contact. Blank period done. Right. With you. Yes. James LaCroix says, Ashley, they lie about everything. Then they make you feel like you're crazy and that you heard them wrong, or they never said that. And if you show them a text, they will say they didn't mean it that way. Absolutely. That is a form of gaslighting. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, my friend. Malta says, hey, Adrian. Eddie Knows says, what's up, Jiggy James? I like that. That's cool. Stacy says, what do you all think about feeling like everyone is toxic? I feel like I'm kind of thinking black and white. It happens. It happens. I don't want you to dwell on it, but you do start to notice more and more toxic people in your life when you become aware of what toxic is. And sometimes they're narcissists, sometimes they're not. When I first learned about the law of attraction, one of the first things I did is I tried to stop talking negatively and thinking negatively and feeling negatively. So I became very, very hypersensitive to other people doing that around me. And that was one of the first keys for me of realizing who was toxic and who wasn't. People who were very negative or who made me feel bad about myself for no good reason. And I think that was one of my first clues. So if you're not sure someone's toxic, think about how they make you feel about yourself and whether that's, because you have your own issues or because of the way they treat you. Yeah. And I bet you 9 times out of 10, it has something to do with the way they're treating you. And if it doesn't, it might have something to do with the way your narcissist is treating you and in regard to that person. And yeah. Okay. Cosmic Mortality continues. Cosmic Mortality said that her narc was buying her 1 month prepaid for her phone. She said, but early this month, out of nowhere, my phone has service now. I've been getting calls similar to my number and random out of state ones. Why? He's the only one with access. Power move? That's interesting. Yeah, power move. Yeah. Making an effort to either I think either making an effort to get in touch with you again and hoover you back in, or making an effort to, to show you he's in control, or mess with your head. Like, what do you mean? I didn't put any minutes on your phone. Another gaslighting move, maybe. Have you answered any of the calls? Have you checked anything? And if it's an iPhone, did you change your iCloud password? I think that's going to be important. I think changing your password is going to be important in any case. Let me know your thoughts. Doreen says, stop the chaos. There's a Beatles song. I'm looking through you. It fits the situation with a narc to a T. Yeah. Narcs try to shut us down, says Andrea Christensen. That's right. Julia Richardson is here. She says, I made it. I'm late, but I made it. Welcome, girl. How you doing? James LaCroix says, I feel better. I just had coffee. Coffee always makes me feel better. 9 times out of 10 anyway. It's always I like coffee. It's a problem, but I still like it. I try not to drink more than 1 pot a day. That's pretty good, right? I'm just playing. Not really. I'm not playing. I really do try not to drink more than 1 pot a day. Michael Ali says, I'm exhausted and I tried to get some protection from the courts with a PPO and it was denied. I don't know what to do now. Can you move away? Can you change the locks on your house? What is she going to do? Is she going to physically attack you? Fill me in, honey. Let me know what's going on. I think I missed some of this yesterday. Malta says, good afternoon, Julia Richardson, and thank you for joining us. Hey, Julia. Stacy says, also, what about coincidences? Like hearing one person say something and someone else say something else the same. What about it? What's the question? Am I missing something? I mean, I think that's normal, but Are you saying like signs from the universe? Is that a sign? It can be. Yeah. Tell me what you're talking about. Nina Taylor says, first time, I'm glad to be here. Well, welcome. Welcome, Nina. I'm happy to have you here, my friend. Cosmic Mortality says, Angie, just a weird thing. I don't use my phone service. I haven't tried to shut it off or use anything with phone calls or text. I'm just pretending like nothing happened, but I do find it to. I'm trying to see the rest of that. But yeah, I no, I get that. I get that. It is weird and it's creepy. I mean, yeah, it's weird. I wouldn't worry about it if you're not using it. Just make sure that if you're using the same device for social media and stuff like that, make sure that you change all your passwords because chances are this person may try to access your private stuff. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, Andrea absolutely, says Bonnie. Nina Taylor, welcome and thank you for joining us, says Malta. Jenny Boo says, my narc dumped me 2 weeks ago. I've been searching for. Didn't I answer that one already? Did I miss something here? Um, Donna says, mine tells me to shut the F up, then goes into a tirade or a rage. Yeah, that's narcissistic rage, probably related to narcissistic injury. Maybe you make this person look too hard at themselves, or maybe somehow you bring out this part of themselves that makes them feel less than or not good enough. It's possible. Yeah. Yep. Let me see here. Okay. Charisma Jones says, if I think back, my narcissist has always dated girls he could manipulate. He used to take pride in his flying monkeys, relishing the fact that the narcissist could easily manipulate women to do anything. That's disgusting. And I think that's probably the truth. I think, if we think about it and we want to be fun, our society does not discourage that, sadly enough. If you look at some of the movies that have been, there are movies where men teach other men how to, manipulate women, like movies. I just, and it's not just men who do it. We know this. It's women who do it. Michael's somebody who's dealt with that, and so Eddie and Tommy and who's the I'm having a anyway. All of our people, men and women, and they also have movies where women teach other women how to manipulate women. So I mean, it's not like some exclusive thing, but yeah, it's unfortunately very common in our society, and our society does not discourage that behavior, which peeves me off in a big way. But what are you gonna do? You know, silly. Michael says we live in the same apartment building. It's difficult to stay away from these demons because I have to walk through the lobby to do laundry, etc. Monkeys everywhere. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. Is it possible to move into a new building or a different apartment complex altogether, maybe? Or do you know if this person's lease might be up soon? Hey, Kelly Garcia, welcome, welcome. James LaCroix says, Donna, mine told me so many times to shut the F up, and her biggest thing was calling me a loser, and who would want me but her? Well, that's very common. You know what they do? They they do that because they want to um, make you feel like you're not good enough. They want to dig you down, cut you down to size emotionally, so that if no one, if she convinces you that no one wants you but her, you can't leave her in her mind. And many victims find themselves in relationships for many years because of that exact lie. And it's a lie. We all know it's a lie. But when we're in the middle of that mess and they tell us something like that, we kind of believe them a little bit, don't we? At least initially, or at the very least, they make us doubt ourselves, right? It's true. I know. But James, let me tell you, that was a lie. That wasn't true. I'm sure you already know, but I'm just saying. Cosmic Mortality says, Angie, it's so strange. Why waste money like that? It makes no sense. I fell for emailing him a song on what would have been our anniversary, and he responded by saying, this is my work email. Oh, boy. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. He would waste money like that because maybe he hoped you would carry the phone with you and he could track your movements because maybe there's an app on the phone that does that. Or maybe he thought you would think it was sweet and he would call him and be like, oh, thanks for doing that or something. It's really hard to know, but definitely, yeah. definitely disconcerting. I think it may also just be straight up gaslighting. Um, Either way, it's a control thing, I think. Jamie B says, "Hi, Kelly." Malta says, "Hi, Kelly. Good afternoon." And Stacy says, "Jamie B, hi. Remember me?" Stacy the Sparkling Star says, "How you doing? How you been?" Andrea says to Val, "We can." I'm sorry, he can make schedules to get his massages, haircut, or to watch sports, but he never sets aside time. He has never set aside time for me or his son. We only get crumbs. That's common with narcissists, isn't it? Crumbs. And sometimes, they condition us to think that's enough. They condition us to act like them, doing something a normal husband or wife would do, just because they are your husband or wife, like, give you a hug or kiss you goodbye or, take out the garbage or do the dishes. If they do something like that, we act like they hung the damn moon because we are so conditioned to get crapped on and accept it, so that even the smallest show of kindness changes. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Even the smallest show of kindness will make us feel like amazing, and so it does teach us to be grateful for the small things, right? But it also teaches us not to expect any more. So it's like if you're kidnapped and you're tied to a wall for a week and you're fed nothing, and then someone brings you a slice of bread that's got a little mold on one side, you're going to be really grateful for that slice of bread, and it's going to taste awesome. you know if you're in there for a month and you've only had 3 slices of bread in that month, or five, or a slice of bread every day or something like that, and somebody brings you a steak dinner, well, you know gosh, if they bring you a hot dog on a bun with no mold, you probably think you got a steak dinner. I mean, it's all perception. It's all, but they condition us to accept crumbs as big gestures. So yeah, for sure. Cosmic Mortality says, Angie Atkinson, he told me to keep it that way because it was work. So he could email me if he really needed to get a hold of me. But yeah, turning my phone on I found to be strange. But I'm not using the calling or text, like I said. I know, but what I'm saying is if you're carrying the phone with you and he's got some kind of an app on there somehow that is tracking your movements, be aware of that. You know, even if you're not using the calling or texting, if you're using data at your house, or your Wi-Fi, um, it's possible that turning on the phone would allow him to sync your data to another phone and literally be watching everything you're doing. So even if you're not actually using those features, he could be watching you by having done that somehow. Maybe it's not directly, but it could be watching social media and seeing what you're doing on Facebook Messenger or whatever. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying that it has anything to do with anything, but I'm just saying it is suspicious, and I would be highly suspicious of the causes for it, and I would consider um, either getting rid of that device or having it, cleared by your phone company to be not being watched. Change all your passwords, stuff like that. Make sure that when you change your Facebook password, that you click the button that says log out of all other devices, stuff like that. And then they can't log back in without the correct password, you see. But if you originally put that phone number in as if you originally put that phone number in as your Facebook phone number, then he could just really quickly go and change your password for you and click don't sign out of other devices and literally be watching you all the time. Creepy but true. I'm just saying, just protect yourself. I'm not saying that's what's happening. I'm just saying it's very suspicious, and there's got to be some ulterior motive if it's a narcissist. Chances are. I hope I didn't upset you. Michael Ali says, constantly trying to find out what I'm doing, knocking on the door. I don't answer. I'm a prisoner in my own home. I'm so sorry, Michael. That's horrible. I would really consider moving or talking to your landlord about it. I mean, even why would they not give you the order of protection? Is it because you're male? I mean, that's ridiculous. That's unfair. And this is another problem with our society. Bonnie says, only very occasionally I confront to set boundaries. Sometimes you have to. She says, even though he just grunted and went into his room, I feel so much better for having said it out loud. I let go of the results. Bonnie, you were getting so enlightened. I'm telling you, girl, that's amazing. And I'm really glad that you did it. And I know sometimes you have to set boundaries with a narcissist. And even though they don't necessarily hear you or respond to you properly, the boundary is set. And then they have choices. They can decide, am I going to follow the rules or not? If they choose not to, then they have to accept whatever consequences are in place. And by setting the boundary, you let them know that. And that's what you have to do sometimes. And then you have to be prepared to stick with your consequences, whatever those are. Which I know you're one of those women that will stick with it because you haven't cooked for you stopped cooking for him a while ago, didn't you? And you used to cook for him every day, right? Charisma Jones says, my narc ex never let me speak how I felt. Same. And it's painful, isn't it? And now you probably don't even know how to speak how you feel. But start doing it, Charisma, because you're going to need to kind of wake up, because we get so good at shoving our feelings down that I think in some ways we think we don't even have any feelings. So then we end up with a bunch of repressed feelings and we get sick. It's no good. So start working on letting those emotions out a little bit. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Stop the Chaos says, I think I let my boundaries drop just a little. She says, I'm carrying too much of the burden of our business and trying to make things nice for our kids. It's taking a toll. She says, I'm just tired of being strong. Oh, I know how that feels. And it is hard to always be the strong one. You shouldn't have to always be the strong one. But knowing what you know, give yourself a break. And one way that you can avoid having to be strong all the time is to spend less time dealing with him. Honestly, give yourself a little space. I'm not saying become a recluse. I'm just saying try for, give yourself a week or a few days or 24 hours for that matter of not dealing with anyone who causes you stress. Be protective of your peace. Protect your peace like it's worth money because it is in a way. Time is very precious, and the more time we waste carrying too much of the burden, it's a problem. You don't have to make things perfect for your children. Your children are allowed to see you have an emotional situation as long as you don't go too crazy. The fact is, if they see you only smiling and acting like everything's okay, they're going to be confused and wonder why you don't have emotions about your marriage ending, And so, and I'm sure that they've seen some emotions, and I respect you trying to minimize the damage on them. That is important. It is. But at the same time, you're allowed to have a break. You're allowed to cry. You're allowed to be sad. Whether we like to admit it or not, it's sad when we end our relationship with a narcissist because it was still a relationship that we spent a long time in. It was still our normal for a long time. And even if our normal sucked really bad, it was what we knew. And ending anything in your life, even when you're leaving that job that you totally hate because you finally figured out how to do your own thing or whatever, you still kind of miss the people a little bit, don't you? You still kind of, oh, just for a second, you think I might really miss this place. But as the further you get away from it, the further you get into your new life, the better that you were making the right choice and doing the right thing. And I think you already know logically, and I think even emotionally you get it. I think you just have to stop trying to be superwoman all the time. You have to give yourself a break. And if that means, spending time with toxic free people or just with you and your kids for a while, for a few days even, do it. Lock all the doors. Don't answer the phone. Tell everybody we're going on a staycation and we aren't going to be here. Don't call us, and just hide out for a few days or go stay in a hotel somewhere and don't tell anybody where you're going. You have the right to do that, just give yourself a few toxic free days, a few days to just be, and to not be going through divorce, to not be running everything. And I know with carrying too much of the burden in your business, that makes it even harder. And having to deal with him in your business makes it even harder. Give yourself a chance to be human, even if it's just 24 hours. Okay? Kirsten Mills says she got a drunk apology text. Oh boy. Gotta love that. Julia Richardson says, I'm starting to notice the patterns and cycling of abuse. They say weird things. I've been no contact and low contact for 10 months with quite a few peers and members of the family, especially cheerleaders. Yeah. It is interesting, isn't it? Noticing the patterns and the cycling of abuse is a big deal because it starts to help you see things from a logical standpoint. One of my clients, who is actually one of my awesome admins now, she's a scientist. She's amazing. She really enlightened me one time because she said, I figured out his patterns, and I said, yeah, well, what did you figure out? And she said, well, when this, when his daughters come around, he doesn't want me to see him, and so he always starts a fight with me right before his daughters come around. I said, oh yeah, that's pretty common. And as she started to explain to me how she figured this out, I was like, oh, I'm totally making a video about this, and I totally did. I can't remember, it's called something about the scientific method, but basically, she scientifically figured out that her doing certain types of manipulation repeatedly in cycles by making a color-coded calendar when he starts a fight, when this happens, when that happens, da, da, and she just reviewed the patterns, and I found that so fascinating. And I think for some of us who are going through this and doubting ourselves, that kind of a thing is really a good idea. It will help you see it in writing and know for sure, okay, I'm not crazy. Not that I think any of you are, because I've been there where you have been, where you might be still, but it helps to know that, logically. I think when we understand logically, then we can begin to overcome, because when we first discover it, we're slapped in the face by the narcissism thing, right? And the abuse thing. First of all, we have to overcome the idea that we're being abused in the first place and understand it and be okay with it and learn how to work forward from it. And then we also have to realize that we've been living with a personality disordered individual for a very long time, someone who will probably never be diagnosed. It's exhausting. Exhausting. Anywho, excuse me. All right. Jamie B says, of course I do. Stacy, the sparkling star, I haven't seen you around for a while. How you been? Oh, Rebecca Horse is here. Hey, girl, hey. She says, hi, checking in. Under attack as usual. Worse at this time. Having something new. Upon incident, eye headache over forehead, top of head to back. Body becomes heavy like poisoned or hungover. Ooh. You may be having blood pressure issues or worse. Rebecca, go to the doctor. Get checked out. I know you're dealing with absolute hell, and you're in this town full of people who are sort of flying monkeying at the very least, right? For this person, or at least a good portion of them are. She's in a very small town. Everybody knows everybody, and she's been really raked over the coals, and the things they've done. It's disgusting. Michael Ali says, I've reported it to management. It's as though they don't want to be bothered. Again, Michael, is there any way that you can get out of there and get a new apartment somewhere else? Let me know. Jamie B says, it's like I took like a million steps backwards, Stacy, but I'm okay, just stuck again. Well, keep breathing, Jamie B. It's just a day-to-day thing. It's okay. It's okay. We'll get through it. All right? Nobody is judging you. I've done it. I've gone back. I tried to even reconnect with my original narcissist not very long ago, and that was a big joke. So don't beat yourself up. We've all been there. Cosmic Mortality says, Angie, you asked to say more of why I got fired. Well, I stood up for myself when a trainer was being awful and disrespectful, just plain evil with me. So I filed a grievance for her being, oh, I remember this. Okay. I'm going to read the rest of that when I get to it. Charisma Jones says he would always turn it on me or bring up things from the past. I learned so much about narc behavior now. I wish I knew this type of person beforehand. Yeah, girl, if I knew before what I know now, I would have been a powerful person. I would have done things a lot different. But I have to see it as that we all go through what we go through for some reason. I think part of the reason I went through what I went through is so that I could understand it well enough to help you guys with it. I really think that. I think that, I tried really hard to stay away from this niche and not talk about this stuff. But, call it God, call it the universe, call it whatever, kept throwing it in my lap. And I kept saying, no. But then I kept being drawn back to it because I'm supposed to be doing this. And I have no regrets. I love you guys. It makes my day every day to hear someone say that I helped them some way, even in a small way. So, yeah, I feel you. Okay. I got off track again. Andrea Christensen says, Charisma Jones, yes, I never got to even ask questions or give an opinion without paying for it. Yep, me too. He even got mad when I would agree with him. Right. And then they doubt themselves. And if you agree with them, and you don't agree with them in the right tone of voice or with the right look on your face, it's a problem. Yeah, I know. I've been there. Mm-hmm. And even if you agree with them, how dare you agree with me? You don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. Or when you agree with them, like if they're talking about someone else and you say, "Oh yeah, you're right, that person is that way," and they go, "Well, what? Well, who are you to talk? You're that way too." Blah blah blah, or whatever kind of. Oh, how about when they defend strangers over you? Like when somebody pulls out in front of you in traffic and they defend you. What are you doing? Pull it out in front of me, just yelling from your car, and then they go, why are you talking about them? You were the one that rode up on them real fast when you saw they were coming out of there, da da da, or whatever. Again, defending a stranger to you above you and making you feel like you're nothing because they'll defend a literal stranger over you. Anybody? All right. Um, Julia says, sometimes I feel good for a little while, but depression sets on and sometimes doesn't lift off right away depending on the circumstances. BPD recovery is hard, but worth the work. Yes, it is. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And just knowing what you're dealing with is a big part of it. Recognizing it, saying just what you said. You know what? Sometimes I feel good, but then I get depressed and it's hard to get over it. That's acknowledging the truth and your feelings, and that's a good thing. So try to see this for what it is. You've acknowledged the truth. Now I want you to think about, Julia, what do you want to be true? Do you want to, be depressed all the time or sometimes, or, do you want to have come up with a new way to get depressed, to get less depressed or to get undepressed? Is that a word? Quickly. I mean, these are things you can think about. I'm telling you, the gratitude thing helps a lot. The 3 things you love about yourself and the 10 things you're grateful for, big, important stuff. It really, 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 really helps. I know nobody believes me, but it does help. Because it changes your vibration. Can anyone speak to the value of gratitude? Let me know in the comments. James LaCroix says, Jamie B, I took my ex back so many times and the abuse got worse until I couldn't take it anymore. Yep. Stop the Chaos says, I'm refocusing on me for a minute, just breathing for a moment. Yes, good. Giving more of myself than I can afford. By the way, I like Brad saying, make yourself a priority, not an option. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I totally am with you on that. And I'm so glad that you said that because that is really, really important for you right now. And for all of us, every time, we all have to be aware of when we're pushing too far and when we're not. Maura says, I need a boss like yours, Eddie. My new one is trying to make everyone miserable. Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. My boss is pretty cool. I'm just playing around, but really I am my own. I mean, yeah. I mean, technically, yeah. I'm the owner. Maura DeLucas says, I got that. Jillian is here. Hey, Jillian. Hey, how you doing? Malta says, Rebecca Horst, I'm glad that you've joined us and I hope you'll feel better soon. Andrea Christensen says, yes, he did. I had to go to my mom's for Thanksgiving. Bonnie says, Angie, we definitely appreciate you. You were like a lifesaver in an ocean of narc sharks. That's cute. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll have to get some narc shark spikes. Charisma Jones says, yes, Andrea, he always seems to turn it around on me. Yep, that's how they roll. Mark Stewart is here. Hey, Mark says, thanks for all you do. It goes against who I am to not try and fix the relationship. It's been difficult. Thank you for all the encouragement. Giving up hope is the hard part. Oh, sweetheart, I totally feel you. It is the hard part. But when you can do that, you're giving up hope on something that's not going to change. And after a certain amount of time that it won't change. But you're also giving yourself hope for a life that doesn't include abuse and toxic energy. And that right there is worth it. I promise it is. I promise. You deserve it. You deserve to be happy. Cosmic Mortality was talking back about the trainer that was reported for being rude. She says, it's hard to explain. Excuse me, my nose is so itchy. It's hard to explain, but she wasn't answering my questions and just being plain awful and rude. But I felt very wrong for being fired for standing up for myself. Oh, yes, I remember the situation. And I totally feel you on that. Yeah, I totally feel you on that. It's not fair that you were fired, but it's very difficult to if that person's been there a long time and that person, twisted the facts, unless you have some sort of a recording or even a witness that would be willing to stand up for you, it's going to be hard to prove the truth, in my opinion. It might not be worth your energy. What are you thinking? Charisma Jones, yep, even if I agreed, total, yep. Andrea says, yes, you're a lifesaver, thank you. Stop the Chaos says, Andrea, wow, I have control issues too. Can I join your club? Are you too controlling to allow in a new member? Oh my gosh, that's great. I like that. That's really good. Yes, that's good. Yes, thank you, Julia. Bonnie says, low contact is the next best thing. Yeah, to no contact. I agree. James LaCroix says, narcs and borderlines, no matter what happens, they twist every story and make themselves look like the victim, even though they are the abuser. That's the truth. Andrea Christensen says, Charisma Jones, I just gave up trying to talk at all to him. I hope you're going no contact with him. That's the only way to get you back. And that's the truth. Yes. Charisma says, this guy was used to being spiritually in the mix all the time. I thought he was a sociopath. I ask myself, why did I wait till my late 30s to fall for a narc? Chances are that if you really didn't fall for anybody else who was a narcissist in your lifetime, um, that you just got unlucky. But my question would be, how was your childhood? My question would be, if you look back into your childhood, do you see where there might have been a narcissist who might have helped condition you to be in this relationship? And if that's the case, if you look back at your other relationships, can you recall a time or 3 or 5 when you were treated a certain kind of way by someone? The other thing is that there are different types of narcissists. Some of them come at you as a big romantic. Some of them come at you as someone who was injured in another relationship, so they're real close to blah blah. Sorry. Some of them come at you for a lot of different, in a lot of different ways, and they use excuses for their distance, their emotional distance. They say, well, in my last relationship, I let myself become somebody I wasn't, and so I'm not going to do that anymore, or something like that. So something to think about. Jenny Boo says, should I block him from Facebook, or is it fine if he can see me online? He dumped me, and I don't think he will write me. I would say block him on Facebook, and the reason I say that is because he might have dumped you, but that doesn't mean that he will not reach out to you again in the future. They tend to do that pretty often, so keep that in mind. Bonnie says, James, you got that right. They go from abuser to victim in a millisecond. Yep. Hey, Cindy Crawford. She says, my ex sent me happy Thanksgiving texts. I blew it and chatted with him some. It was not until I quit texting that I saw your videos and realized it was a Hoover maneuver. I'm glad you posted those. I'm glad they were helpful for you, Cindy, and I'm hoping that you didn't continue chatting after that. I know it's hard, but it happens. It does, and I'm glad that you saw those and that you appreciated them. Thank you for telling me that. Jenny Boo says, Charisma Jones, same for me. I'm 33 now, and these have been the most exhausting 3 years with that guy. Yep, I feel you. Michael Ali says, I saw this demon earlier and got the devil's stare, the look, as though she's determined to destroy me and upset because I still exist. Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. Rebecca says, hi, Multi, I'm under attack. The options to protect me from abuse through parenting aren't working due to too much contact over the holidays through too many child exchanges. Every exchange is a drama. Ugh. Yeah, her situation is particularly toxic, guys. It's a rough situation she's dealing with. And Becky, I don't know how you keep holding your head up, but I'm so proud of you for doing it. You're such a good mom. She's a really good mom, you guys. Anyway, she does such good things for her little kid. And her daughter is so intelligent. I just want to tell you, smart kid. Okay. But somehow Becky manages to stay strong for her daughter and go through hell regularly because of her ex and his new, I'll stop talking. It's a messed up situation. Rose Hargrove says, thanks, Angie, for these meetings. They help me a great deal. Thank you, Rose. Andrea says, stop the chaos. Too funny. We should have a control freak club, right? I know. James says, I would block them. If you don't, they will stalk your page and have their flying monkeys bothering you. Yes. Jenny, Eddie knows, agrees. He says, block, block, block. Okay, you guys, I'm so sorry. I have to run. Oh, wait, I'm going to answer this one last question, and then I'm going to run. I have a client call in a few minutes. Mr. Wana Lancet says, did they ever stop stalking you? My son and I have had to move from state to state for the last 27 years. Woo! And change our names, appearances. Police are useless. Holy crap. I'm thinking you must be in a very difficult situation, and I think you might be dealing with a psychopath or a sociopath if they're that obsessed that you have to literally change your names and your appearances. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I would say you might be in a unique situation. Generally, eventually they'll stop because they'll want supply, and if they realize they're never going to get it, they will usually stop, unless they're a psychopath or a sociopath level narcissist, in which case you cannot be too careful. And I don't want to give you any false hope. If it's been 27 years, I don't think it's going to change until you know, the end. And I hope the end is their end and not yours. You know, I wouldn't want to give you any false hope on that, but I would say, you know, do your very best to stay positive and stay focused on moving forward. I'm so sorry that you're dealing with that. Okay, I'm going. I have to get to my next call. I will see you guys tomorrow morning for our usual session. Thank you for letting me know that you're still into the daily sessions. If at any time it becomes too much or you don't want this anymore, you know, reach out to me and let me know. I don't want to waste my energy or yours, but I get this feeling like you want me here because you keep coming. So thank you for that, guys. I will see you tomorrow morning and hopefully later today for another video. Have a good one.